Welcome to the Reed Report. Thank you guys for taking the time to hear me out. And today we have an interesting topic. It's a topic that, I wanted to wait to see what happened. I wanted to wait to see if Skip Bayless would respond, and it turns out he did respond to what we're about to talk about. Now, we all know that Skip Bayless on the show Undisputed was Skip and Shannon. Shannon is the LeBron guy. He's the guy that considers LeBron the greatest player of all time. I think probably still think LeBron James is the greatest player in the game today, right now. And we know Skip is the Michael Jordan guy. Skip, like many others, myself included, think it's laughable to even consider LeBron James. Skip think it's laughable to even consider LeBron James in the GOAT conversation over Michael Jordan, that he is not even, I don't even think he have him in his top 5, but I could be mistaken on that. I think he has Jordan, Magic, Bird, I think probably something like that. But Skip is also the Kevin Durant guy on the show. He's the guy that thinks KD is the best player in the world, that KD is the MVP this year, not Steph Curry and not LeBron James, not Jokic, not anyone but Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant has made it clear what he feels about Skip Bayless. I mean, he's done so in the past, in 2012, saying that Skip doesn't know anything about basketball and things like that. But recently, it was the other day on Tuesday, it was December 14th, the Brooklyn Nets were playing the Toronto Raptors, and it took the Brooklyn Nets overtime, not knocking them on it, but it took them overtime to beat the Toronto Raptors. I believe the final score was 131-129. KD dropped 34 points, I believe. Yeah, he dropped 34 points. And after the game, Skip Bayless tweeted, he said, "The best player on the planet was at it again tonight in Brooklyn, going assassin in overtime for the COVID Rock Nets. Nothing like Kevin Durant. You watch, Bron. You watch," as a question. You watch, Bron. Anyway, so Kevin Durant made it clear after that to let Skip Bayless know what he feels about him after he tweeted that. And Kevin Durant retweeted, quoted, "I really don't like you." And of course, this was trending on Twitter. Everybody was talking about it, but Skip didn't respond immediately. He finally responded today, which is December 16th. And he goes on this, you can tell he's bothered by this. He's bothered by this because he's calling KD the best player, and KD is not giving him that, he's not giving it back to him. I believe the way Skip said that Michael Jordan would. Michael Jordan always respected him for it. Tom Brady, I remember, recently came out and said that, they were on a call, I believe before the season, and a lot of former players and current players on the call. It was like some Zoom call. I don't know what it was about, but Shannon Sharpe was on that call. And, Shannon is not a defender of Tom Brady on Undisputed. And Tom Brady was joking with Shannon saying, "Man, Skip Bayless defends me more than you. You're supposed to have my back." So KD doesn't give it back the way that Tom Brady gave it back to Skip, in a positive light. And the way he say Michael Jordan, Skip Bayless said Michael Jordan would always thank him and appreciate him for, defending him and calling him the greatest and things like that. But KD doesn't give it back like that. And Shannon was trying to explain to Skip that, it's because, had you said KD was the best player on the planet, he didn't mention MVP, but had he said MVP, had he said these things and left LeBron out, KD wouldn't have said anything. But because he keep comparing these two, trying to pin these two against each other, and Skip made the case that, this is what this show is about. It's about us pinning them against each other, in that matter. That's pretty much the theme of it. LeBron versus Kevin Durant. And you can tell Skip was just bothered by it. Like he always wanting to invite these guys up to the show, but I just don't know, like, he gets it because he said he doesn't care when Shannon was explaining it to him. He said he didn't care, and Shannon just like chuckled, laughed. And it's just crazy how delusional this guy comes across, Skip Bayless. It's like, you know why Kevin Durant has responded the way he did, but you don't want to accept that. He goes on, he talks about how Twitter, him on Twitter is like an extension Undisputed, in which I believe Skip, because Skip Bayless lives, breathes, and eat that show. Any show that he's on. I believe he once, told the story that he told his wife Ernestine that his show, his career, his job will always come before her. He explained that to his wife. He said he didn't want to have kids because his career and all that will always come before first. And you can tell the type of guy he is. But when someone is just as delusional as that, it kind of is just like, dude, he doesn't appreciate the fact that you have to throw LeBron's name in there to try to pin them against each other. You may see it a different way, but you can't tell Kevin Durant how to see this situation. You can't force him to, just because you're heaping praise on him, calling him the best player on the planet, calling him the MVP and the guy that's going to lead the Brooklyn Nets to the championship. That doesn't mean that he's going to like you. And when we remember, I think last year when Skip and Dame had their troubles, I guess they had a private phone call and everything, and Dame went and talked about what the call was about. So Skip really didn't appreciate that, and he, took it upon himself to just take shots at Dame throughout the rest of the year, I believe. He hasn't been saying anything lately, but when Dame comes up short, they're struggling right now. So believe me, Skip will revisit that when the Blazers become newsworthy again. But yeah, it was just interesting. So I just wanted to talk about that. I really do think that Skip Bayless, again, you know what? Never mind. Take that back. Skip is a guy, he's probably in his 70s, late 60s, early 70s. He's a guy that's stuck in his ways. He is who he is, and he's not going to change. But he's trying to force someone to see something the way he sees it, and that's just not going to rock with everybody. That's just not going to fly with everybody, because Twitter is an extension of your show. That doesn't mean everyone else has to receive that and has to get that and grasp that and, follow the way that you want them to. So that's just my take on the situation. Shannon did try to explain it to him because, like Shannon said, when Skip was criticizing Westbrook, KD may have had those feelings. He may have felt like, man, this man is taking too many shots. He is the reason that we can't get over. He may have had those feelings, but someone outside talking about it, that's not going to fly with KD. That's not going to fly with him no matter how much you call him the best player on the planet. Russell Westbrook is still like a brother to him. And if you taking a shot at, I can pick on my brother, but if you try to pick on my brother, we got a problem. And that's how Kevin Durant sees it. Skip Bayless knows it, but he is an older man who's stuck in his ways, and that's who he is. I don't accept it. No one has to accept it, Skip. You just have to accept the fact that you can't force someone to think the way you do. But I appreciate you guys taking time to hear me out. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you soon. When people see this, they're going to say, well, he really wasn't a nice guy. He may have been a tyrant. Well, that's because you never won anything. I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well. Look, I'm only doing this because it is who I am. That's the way I played the game. That was my mentality. And if you don't want to play that way,